you give me a thumbs up? Sorry? Oh, okay. Okay, nice. All right, well, welcome to our Monday yoga flow. I don't know about you, but I am ready for some yoga. It has definitely been Monday. So we're just going to find ourselves in a seated position, comfortable on our mat. And as we slowly close the eyes, relax the face, we start to feel into the physical body. Just starting to take a slow inventory from head to toe, checking in to see where those tensions are holding on to today. So we take a moment to notice this yoga space. We notice the sounds in the room. We notice the smells. We just notice ourselves in this new space. We feel the sit bones heavy on the floor. We just continue doing our best to tune into that breath. So continue slowing down. Just noticing where the breath might be this afternoon. It might be small and short, holding in the chest. You might notice holding the breath even. Or maybe that breath is deep in the belly and just flowing fluid. We continue to relax the face, relax the shoulders. Feel strong as we sit here in our seated position, but we feel relaxed as well. On our next inhale, we'll gently sweep our fingertips out to the sides. We'll gaze towards the ceiling, palms find each other. And just releasing to the heart center. Again, we close the eyes. We might bow the head, tuck the chin. Inhaling, lifting the forehead. We start to drive the fingers towards the ceiling. Exhale, we open the arms and release back to the floor, or perhaps the knees. Again, relaxing the face, relaxing the eyes. We start to draw the shoulders up towards the ears. And then exhaling, beginning to drop those shoulders down behind the spine. Good. Inhaling, lifting. Exhale, we drop. So as we start to move the body, we start to prime the breath as we inhale, lift, exhale, drop. We start to notice this rhythmic pattern, this ebb and flow, this connection between body and breath. We relax the face, release the jaw. This is our time to unwind from the busy day and just give yourself permission to arrive. And I know it doesn't always happen immediately. We find patience to guide the body and the breath into this space. And as we draw the shoulders towards those ears, we take a moment to squeeze. And we might even intentionally squeeze the face, create some tension in the upper body. And as we exhale, we'll roll those shoulders forward, opening the back, feeling some space between the shoulder blades, spreading those wings as wide as they can. And just find a pace that feels good for your body today. Faster, slower. Continuing to inhale and lift, and exhale, we drop. Just a few more rounds. We take a nice warm up so we can connect to the breath and the body. And we'll slowly start to pick up the pace. So just allow yourself to be in this slow, rhythmic space right now. As we exhale, we gently release those palms back to knees, release the shoulders. And then finding a spot on the floor to gaze at, we might just retract the chin, imagining a cable pulling the crown of the head towards the ceiling. We elongate through the spine. We might engage the core slightly. And as we inhale, drawing the fingertips out to the floor, we start to walk forward, bowing the head, releasing the body. We might start to hang out on the elbows, or if it feels more comfortable to even grab a block, maybe two, and just release the head onto the floor. So we feel this nice opening in the back. On our next inhale, we gently half lift, and we'll slowly walk over to right side. So as we reach the bent knee, we release the back of the head. We release the heaviness of the upper body. Just taking a moment to feel the space in the side rib cage and that side hip area. And as we continue releasing the head, we might just walk those fingertips a little bit further over to right side. So as far as we can, reaching through the arms. We might even start to tip the left ear towards the floor, so we kind of bow a bit further. And on the inhale, we'll slowly lift and lengthen. Halfway, just sweeping the body through center, we'll head over to opposite side. And again, bowing the heaviness of the head, releasing the back of the neck. And as we continue to forward fold, we might just start to walk those fingertips a little bit further, trying to twist around the body, maybe even releasing the right ear onto the forearm, the floor. And as we inhale, we slowly lift and lengthen. We'll draw the body back to center. We take a moment to pause, release the back of the neck. And throughout our practice, I'll be offering adjustments. If your palms are facing the floor, I may come around to help get a little bit deeper into your postures. If your palms are facing the ceiling, I'll know to give you some space today. On the next exhale, we press the palms away from the floor. We undulate the spine back to seated. And again, we'll sweep those fingertips out to the sides, gazing towards the ceiling. Exhale, palms find the heart. We just take a moment to close the eyes here. I invite you to set an intention for our practice today. So anything that comes to mind that you'd like to draw into your practice. This could be as simple as focusing on the breath work, finding patience in the mind, letting go of the day. Or you may even want to dedicate your practice to someone who isn't able to be here. So just taking a few more deep breaths as we get super clear on why we showed up, what this practice means to us. And as we exhale, slowly releasing palms to knees, we'll gently tip behind the body, curving the pelvis, and just dropping the chin towards the chest. We start to come into a seated cat-cow, and on the inhale, we'll draw the heart towards the front of the room. We'll open the front of the throat. Exhaling, tucking the chin. So we start to roll the spine, just warming up. Allowing yourself to just be curious with your body tonight. Where is that tension holding? Send that breath to those spaces. Relaxing the face and the jaw. As we start to lift the chest, we find stillness. On the exhale, we retract the navel back to neutral. And inhaling, sweeping arms overhead, we might gaze towards the ceiling and just reaching left and right towards the sky. We feel a little bit more openness in the side body. Allowing the side of the neck to follow the shoulders. We find some stillness here. On the exhale, we twist the torso over to left knee and begin dropping the palms. One palm finds the knee, and we might start to connect to the floor behind us or the low spine. So with each inhale, we lift tall and lengthen. Each exhale, we start to twist over the shoulder. And again, inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, we twist. So we kind of slowly make our way. Instead of jarring deep into the deepest position, we make some space to ease our way in. On the inhale, we'll slowly float back through center. We'll head over to opposite side, so banking onto the knee. Again, we'll inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, we twist deep. And again, we just pulse in and out. So warm yourself up. Inhale and lift, exhale and drop. Releasing back through center. We'll slowly draw those knees together. And just allowing the toes to find the floor. We'll start to, again, C-curve the spine, so we'll tuck the chin. And then inhaling, lifting, gluing the ribs to the thighs as we open the throat. Exhale, we'll tuck. Inhale, we slowly lift and lengthen. Exhale, we tuck. Good. Inhaling here, we find some stillness. We find balance on the sit bones. Tippy toes reach for the floor. We start to power up the elbows, sweeping fingertips behind the knees. We'll open up the heart. We might find a gaze on the floor or the ceiling. And then gently tipping behind the body, we start to lift one leg. And we'll just point and flex that ankle, work into the side. And then finding some more balance, we'll meet the legs, the toes. And again, we'll start to point and flex. And at any time, you can always come back down if you feel you need a little extra support. Good. On the exhale, we'll cross those ankles, palms find sides of hips. We press the toes into the floor and just gently lift for a moment. Inhale, release. We come back to our boat. Exhale, crossing ankles opposite way. We release the palms. We lift and lengthen. And then exhale, release. We find our boat posture. So here we really power up through the core and we start to release the arms slowly. And maybe those heels come back down. We need a little extra support. Or if you can lift one leg, two legs, just play around with where you are. We'll start to slowly sweep the arms behind the body. And then inhale, sweep the arms back. We lift those legs. So we kind of just ebb and flow. We'll release the legs and then open the heart. And then exhale, we'll come back. We'll find that balance. So we come in and out to challenge the body, to continue shifting that breath. And just one last time, open. And then closing, we start to, let's release the heels and we'll slowly shift the hips forward. Inhaling, arms reach for the ceiling. Exhale, we slowly curve the spine. We release onto the back. And just releasing the back of the head. Inhaling, arms reach overhead. We'll extend through the legs. Full body stretch as we reach evenly in both directions. And as we exhale, we allow the body to sink deep into the floor. We might just release the legs and the facial muscles. Inhaling, drawing the right knee into the chest. And then exhale, we'll draw the left knee in to follow. We start to kind of sway the hips from left and right, just rocking into the floor. And then beginning to push those knees away from you and then drawing back in, we create this stirring sensation. So we're massaging the tailbone, feeling into those hips. And as we exhale, slowly reversing, so we take it in the opposite direction. Good. And then finding stillness here, we start to inhale, tucking the chin, lifting the forehead. We come into a small little ball. And we just start to rock very slowly. So we start to kind of warm up the body here. We'll start to make this rock and roll a little bit bigger. So we might roll between the hips and the shoulders. And again, you can stay slow and low. It doesn't have to be a huge movement. But just feeling into the left side of the spine and the right. Releasing the shoulders away from ears. And as we gently roll forward, this next time we'll cross those ankles, we'll roll over the knees. We find ourselves in our tabletop. So we'll walk ourselves back into the center of mat. We'll stack those wrists. We'll stack the knees. On the inhale, we'll drop the belly. We'll lift the eyes. We'll wake up the spine again. And exhaling, tucking the chin, releasing the head. We come into our cat. Inhale, we lift. Release. Good. Releasing the belly. Exhale, we'll tuck the chin, curve the spine. So feel free to close the eyes and feel into the back, the knees, the shoulders. Just a few more rounds. Good. As we move through our cat, we'll hold here for a few breaths. So begin pressing deep into the hands, press into the top of the feet. Really arch through the mid-spine. Release the back of the neck. On the exhale, we move through our cow. So we drop the belly, intentionally sinking the belly towards the earth. And then really open up the throat, look towards the ceiling, lift the hips, press into the hands. And then exhaling, releasing back to neutral. We'll begin to tuck those toes. We start to lift our hips. We come into our first inversion of the evening. And then pedaling through the heels, pedaling through the hips. And we just take our time, feel into the back of the knees, the hamstrings. Good. On the inhale, we draw the toes to meet each other. We engage the thighs, lift the kneecaps. We lift through the hips. We reach through the heart. And just come a little deeper into your posture, feeling a big opening in the calves, in the Achilles. And then notice if you're holding that breath, we continue to find that exhale. Fingers nice and wide, pressing through. Pressing deep into the thumbs and the pointer fingers to relieve any pressure of the wrists. On the inhale, we slowly shift the body forward into our plank position. So thighs squeeze, toes squeeze. We find some strength here. And think about tucking the tailbone and drawing the navel into the core, into the spine. Exhale, we'll come back to our downward facing dog, lift those hips. Inhale, we'll undulate the spine, curving forward. We find that plank once again. So find that strength. Find that patience and yet breath. Inhale, we start to lift and lengthen. And then staying here, we just shift the weight to left foot. We'll inhale the right leg. And then opening the right hip towards the side while we'll release the heel behind the sit bones. Exhale, we just start to rotate that right hip. So knee stays bent, and we slowly stir into that right side. You doing okay? Okay. Good. Continue breathing. If you need to take a breather, come on out and just come right back when you're ready. So we're just rolling that right hip. Good. On the next inhale, we'll find some stillness. We'll slowly sweep the right leg forward. We come into our pigeon. So we just start to release the leg. And then taking a few rocks left and right. Slowly getting in. Good. And to challenge the body, we can try to bring that ankle 90 degrees towards the knee, and then begin shifting the weight back into center. Sometimes it feels good to rest on the blanket for a little support. Does that feel good? Okay. Good. Releasing down. And if it feels comfortable to come onto those elbows, good. Release the back of the head. Release into the posture. So taking a few deep breaths here. Making that space wherever we can. Good. On the inhale, we slowly lift the torso. We'll press away from the body. And we'll just lift through the heart. We'll gaze towards the front wall. And if it's available for us to extend or bend that back knee, we might just lift. And if it's not available, that's okay. We just stay here. We get deep. On the inhale, let's tuck the toes of that extended back leg. We press through the palms. We'll shift back into our downward facing dog. And just pedaling through the heels. We take a moment. We find some stillness. We reach through those heels. On the inhale, we shift weight once again to opposite side. So right leg finds the floor, left leg lifts behind. We start to open the left hip to sidewall. And think about that standing leg lifting the kneecap, squeezing, engaging the quad. On the exhale, we'll slowly start to stir that left hip. So knee stays bent. We just open and close. We find this nice rhythmic pattern. Good, take your time. On the exhale, we'll draw that left knee forward. And we'll slowly make our way into our pigeon opposite side. So releasing back down. Releasing the back toe. making your way, we'll come into that deepest posture. So take a moment here. There's a little support. There you go. Good, release the back of the head. Just think about coming back to that breath with each exhale. We relax a little bit deeper. We feel into the body a little bit more. Good, a few deep breaths. Another inhale here. On the exhale, we press the palms away from the floor. We start to lift. And we'll just press into the fingertips. We'll open the heart wide. We might gaze towards the ceiling. Roll the shoulders back. Take a moment to relax that right side leg. As we exhale, palms find the floor. We'll just retuck the back toes. We'll start to lift into our hips. We come back to our downward dog. On the next inhale, eyes find the fingertips. And then feet come about hip width apart. We start to shift the left palm to center line of body. Inhaling, right arm sweeps back to connect to the leg, connect to the outer knee, the thigh, wherever's available. So nice and strong in our three-legged dog. We might even start to peek underneath the left shoulder towards the ceiling. Another big inhale. As we exhale, let's release. We'll head over to opposite side. So we shift into that right palm. Left palm sweeps back to connect. We peek underneath the shoulder. We reach through the heels. And just finding that deep belly breath once again. Inhale, slowly release. We reconnect to the floor. On the next inhale, eyes find the fingers once again. We'll slowly bend into the knees. And we start to straighten and bend. So we'll gently come in and out of this deep squat. Squatting and lifting. Good. Next time our knees are bent, we gaze towards the fingers. And we either take a few steps or we hop forward. The feet find between the thumbs. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, we forward fold. And just bringing those feet about hip width apart, we'll clasp the hands around the elbows. We start to sway left and right. Just take a moment to catch the breath in this new position. This rocking sensation really eases the nervous system, slowing down the mind, slowing down the breath, releasing the back of the neck. Good. As we find some stillness, we'll start to inhale, half lift. Exhale, let's forward fold. Palms find outsides of pinky toes. Again, we start to step back. We come through to our chaturanga. So we zip up the thighs, we walk those hands slightly underneath the chest, and then slowly releasing, just about halfway, we take a hold. And then exhale, we either release onto hips or release onto the entire chest. Inhale, untuck the toes, we lift through. Just take a moment here, nice and slow. Exhale, we'll tuck the chin, we'll roll over knees or roll over those toes. Whatever is part of your practice here, we lift back into our downward dog. Good. Inhaling once again, eyes find the fingers. We start to bend into the knees. We might hop or take a few steps. We find our feet in between the thumbs. Inhaling, we half lift. Exhale, let's forward fold. Good. Inhale, we bend into those knees. We sweep the hands towards the toes. We come and sit into our chair. So just peeking down for a moment, making sure those knees are behind the toes. So maybe that means we have to come up slightly. We start to open the heart once again. And then notice if the belly is falling forward. We start to drop the tailbone and kind of curve the spine. So the navel draws in, then we reopen through the heart. Really nice. Feel that heat in the legs, heat in the body. On the exhale, palms release to the heart. We start to bank elbow onto left knee. Good. We start to bank in here. And think about pressing elbow away from the knee. We might gaze towards the ceiling. We press the palms deep into each other. Good. Keep breathing nice and deep. So we might stay here. We might start to extend through the arms. exhale, releasing palms back to heart. We'll forward fold, release the torso. Inhale, we'll half lift. Exhale, again, we sweep deep. We come into our chair. We start to lift through the heart. So again, think about dropping the tailbone, tucking the pelvis and the navel, and then reopening through the heart. Good, stay here, just a few breaths. Good, lifting through the arms, tucking the pelvis. Good, nice deep breaths. So we create this heat in the body, this strength in the mind. On the exhale, palms release to the heart. We start to twist over opposite side. So banking the elbow. And again, just peeking down to those toes to start. And then if you're feeling comfortable and steady, we start to move the gaze towards the ceiling. Really press the elbow into that knee and then open up through the heart. Extend through the fingers. Notice that breath. Another big inhale here. Exhale, we slowly release. Let's forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, palms find the floor, knees bend. We just shoot back the right leg. Good. So we find ourselves in this deep lunge. We might even walk that foot forward so that the knee is underneath the ankle. So the back toes are reaching into the floor. We power up that back leg. Take a few breaths. On the inhale, right palm finds the floor. We start to open up towards the ceiling. So another spinal twist here. Really nice. Keep breathing. Rotating the torso. On the exhale, we'll slowly release. And then we start to just lift through the arms. So we might stay on the knee, or if you'd like to come up. And then again, tucking the pelvis, lifting through the heart. We start to reach through. And on the exhale, let's bend into the back knee. Inhale, we'll straighten up both legs. Exhale, we'll drop. Inhale, we'll lift. You take your time. Exhale, we'll bring in those cactus arms, drawing the elbows into the hips. Inhale, we reach tall, we squeeze through the thighs. And as we exhale next, we slowly come down. Palms find the heart. We'll start to just drop the back heel. So we find ourselves warrior two. We reach through the arms. And then reaching as far as we can through the front. Lifting through center. Reach as far as you can through the back. And again, one more time each way. And then finding that spot in the center, we flip the palms facing the floor. We take a moment here, we'll interlace those fingers behind the back. We'll start to straighten up those arms. We start to bend into that front knee. We release the torso onto the thigh, releasing the back of the neck, release the head. So that back leg is powered up. We engage the thigh. We press through the back toes, and we sink in a little bit deep. Good, inhale, so we stay here. We'll just release those hands. We'll start to place the palm here. If you need to take a breather, feel free to come into that child's pose. Just take a moment. So we're in our high lunge. We start to release the palm on the outside of the toe, and then begin opening up from here. Good, exhale, we'll slowly release again. We'll inhale, let's lift those hips so nice and tall. And let's just straighten up the legs. We might even pop forward slightly so that the hips can square towards the front toes. And on our next exhale, we'll bend into the front knee. We slowly shift the weight. We're going to find our weight on this one foot. So we start to pop the body up. We may even use those blocks here. Good. Awesome. Doesn't matter how high you kick, we just work on that balance. A slight bend in the standing knee. We think about squaring the hips. So I'm just going to place my hands underneath the thigh. So think about pressing me away. So kick into me. Yeah, press into my hands. Yeah, good. And then inhale, release, just allow you to float. And then on the exhale, we slowly start to bend that lifted leg. We sit behind the opposite knee. And we start to find the sit bones on the floor. So we gently make our way, however is best comfortable. We find ourselves in this seated spinal twist. We slowly release into the sit bones. We'll inhale, draw the knee into the heart. Imagine that string or cable pulling you towards the ceiling. Exhale, we start to twist. And again, on the inhale, we lift and lengthen. Exhale, we twist again. So we just take a few moments to ease our way in. Go ahead and just make this practice your own. Whatever support you need or modifications, feel free to just take care of yourself today. On the exhale, we'll slowly release. We'll just bend the top knee. And we start to forward fold, releasing the back. Go ahead and take a few breaths. As we inhale, we'll slowly lift. And then just extending through the legs, we start to point and flex. We'll inhale the hands to the heart. We reach through the ceiling and then exhale, forward fold. So always feel free to bend those knees, maybe even placing a block underneath for a little bit support. And then wherever you feel the most comfortable, where you have a nice deep stretch, we start to release the chin, release the back of the neck. We take a few deep breaths here. If at any time it feels too deep of a stretch for you, you can push back into me. So if I'm getting you a little too far, just push away from me and we start to build strength instead of stretching deep. Good. As we inhale, we'll slowly lift and lengthen. On the exhale, we might just grab our yoga strap. We're going to take that around the toes. And again, we start to lift through the spine. Exhale, we'll tuck and we'll start to draw the body down with a little bit extra support. So pulling even deeper, releasing the back of the neck. Good, take a few breaths here. Inhaling, we lift. Exhale, we'll release the band. On the inhale, knees will bend. Exhale, we cross the ankles. We start to roll forward again. We'll find our way onto those knees. We shimmy back to center of mat. We'll start to tuck toes and lift those hips once again. So finding your way onto the feet, we find our downward facing dog once again. Good. On the next exhale, we find stillness. We start to lift through the right leg. So opposite leg we had up before. On the exhale, we slowly shift into a high lunge on this opposite side. So you may need to bring the knee down and walk your foot into place. So we get nice and comfy with the knee stacking over the ankle. And then we start to power up the back leg. So we lift through. Think about reaching through the heel. And then inhaling, we shift the palms, top of knee. We start to lift through. And then tucking through the pelvis. We open the heart once again. We'll sweep through the arms. And then exhale, palms reach the heart. We'll start to inhale, we'll lift and lengthen, we'll just straighten both legs, we'll extend through the toes. And yeah, pop through the back foot to make sure you're nice and steady. We start to lift and lengthen, and then exhale, cactus arms come down. Inhale, we'll lift once again. Exhale, we'll drop. So imagine pulling those ropes from the ceiling. Exhale, reach down. Inhale, we lift. Exhale, we'll drop. Good, one last time, we'll start to lift. On the exhale, we'll just bend into the knee. We'll start to sweep the fingers behind the back. We'll straighten up the arms, open the heart, and begin bowing the ribs onto the thigh. We release the back of the neck. So lots of balance here. If you need to drop that back knee, feel free to drop down, take a breather, If you're ready to come back, come back. If not, stay there. But as we exhale, we'll slowly just release the palms. And then from this point, left palm finds inside of the big toe. We'll start to open up through the right side. Keep that breath with you, remembering the breath will guide the body. Continue slowing down the breath and the mind. Good. On the exhale, we start to back heel. We open up. We find warrior two, opposite side. And then just reaching through those front fingertips. We'll inhale, we'll lift. We'll start to reach through the back fingertips. Just finding those edges of the body. And then inhaling, lift. Exhale. Make that space in the ribs. We'll flip the palms facing the floor. We just start to gaze towards the ceiling. Exhale, we'll draw our cactus arms back. And then the hands find those hips. We start to draw the toes forward. Good. And then beginning to release the palms to the thighs. We start to bend into the knees. And then lift and lengthen. Good. So deep squat here. Knees behind toes. We keep the heart open. Lifting and dropping. On the exhale, we start to lift nice and tall. We take a moment, palms find those hips, and we'll just start to bow forward. We'll bend into the knees. So knees can be slightly bent or just push them all the way back and feel into the heels. So then we can release the head and the torso together. And you can play around with how wide you are with the feet. Good. You may even want some blocks for some support with those hands if you'd like a little extra length in the spine. On the next exhale, we just gently start to walk the hands back behind the body. Good. We slowly release the back of the neck. We draw the head into a no motion from left and right sides. And finding stillness again, we start to bind the fingers around the toes. We power up the elbows. We just kind of maybe even connect to the shins or the ankles. Good. And then from there, we start to pull the torso even deeper down. We might bend into those knees to release some pressure and then come back in when we're ready. Release the back of the neck. And just notice how that breath has changed. Continue slowing down the mind. Good. On the inhale, palms find the knees. We start to bend deep into our low squat. So from here, elbows might find the tops of the knees. We're going to slowly draw the heels in slightly. And then coming left and right rocking. So options here are to have those blocks with us, or release hands onto knees, or even just come up higher if that's what feels best for your body today. So we just rock left and right. Another big inhale here, and then as we exhale, we slowly find some stillness. We might start to release either the elbows onto the knees, or we just tip over to the shoulder. Take a moment, spinal twist. Inhale through center, we'll head to opposite sides, so we start to release into the shoulder. And then exhale, coming back to center, we'll just start to straighten the knees, the toes come forward. And we just gently walk, kind of heel toe those feet together. Bending into knees, we'll slowly tuck the chin. We start to come to standing. So as slow as you can, we gently lift the spine. We'll take a big step. We find ourselves top of mat once again. Inhaling, sweeping through. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, move through our vinyasa, so hopping or stepping. We slowly release just halfway, high to low plank. Either untucking those toes, releasing the hips, squeezing through the thighs, opening the heart. And then exhale, roll over knees or toes. We slowly find our downward facing dog once again. And just take a deep breath here. On the inhale, we'll slowly shift forward. We find our plank once again. And then drawing the toes together, we're going to start to come into a side plank. So right palm comes to center. And then we start to tip the heels to the side, and we open on up. So options here to lower the bottom knee, or maybe even the elbow. Or we might stay tall. And feet can either be stacked on top or one in front of the other. So whatever feels best for you. So we stay here, and we begin to exhale. It's forward fold. We come back to our plank. We head right on over to opposite side. So really stacking your wrist underneath the shoulder so there's this nice line. And then lifting those hips. We start to inhale, squeezing through. So find that breath. And on the exhale, we slowly release. We come back to our plank. Inhale, we lift into downward facing dog. Exhale, feet come hip width apart. We slowly lower onto those elbows. So we'll just gently release, maybe one at a time, maybe together. And then interlacing fingers, we start to come into our dolphin posture. So releasing the crown of the head, maybe even walking the tippy toes a bit forward. So we feel lots of length behind the knees and the hamstrings. Good. On the exhale, we slowly walk the feet back slightly so we can start to release into a plank. On the inhale, we lower those hips. We might even walk the elbows forward so we feel we have enough room. And we find our elbow plank here. We start to draw the core in. And from here, we slowly start to drop the left hip to the floor. So shoulders stay pretty square. We come back to center. So it's this side-to-side sway. So let's come onto the knees. We can do the same thing. We slowly release, and then slowly come back. And then slowly release. Inhaling, we find stillness in the center, and we'll just release our hips to the floor. We'll gently come on down whenever you're ready. And just releasing the hands, releasing the legs. Good. Inhale, we'll slowly zip up the thighs. We'll start to press into the palms and then lift through the heart. So we just feel this openness. Good. The crown of the head reaches for the ceiling. And as we exhale, we really zip up the thighs to use the power of the lower legs. Engage the core. We start to sweep the arms out to the sides. So fingertips find the direction in the heels. We just sweep back. We might even interlace fingers if that's available. If not, we just continue reaching that position. And as we exhale, we sweep those arms back forward. We release onto opposite ear. Good. Inhale, let's come back to center. We lift the head, we lift the shoulders, we draw the palms back to the heart. And then just gluing the elbows into the rib cage. We'll zip up those thighs. We start to press into the palms, we'll just lift a bit higher. Good, so opening into the heart. Good, hang out for a couple breaths. Think about dropping the shoulders away from those ears. Good, and then reopening through the heart. If there's any tension in the low spine, really squeeze through the glutes, the thighs. Exhale, we'll slowly release back down. We come onto the floor. On the inhale, we start to gaze past the right shoulder or the left. And we begin to reach back with that same side hand, and then connecting, bending through the knee. We start to reach for the ankle, the toes. Good, exhale, let's release. We switch over to opposite side. So peeking over the right shoulder, we start to kick back and connect. And just thinking about pressing the right hip into the floor, releasing the upper body. Good, on the exhale, we'll slowly release once again. Inhaling, chin finds the floor. We start to reach back with both hands this time. So we might kick the heels to start and then begin reaching and lifting. Good. Lifting the head if it's available. Good. If you notice yourself holding the breath, find that exhale, deep, deep. Good, exhale, release. We'll just let go of those ankles and just sink deep into the floor. Really nice. On the next inhale, palms come to the heart. We slowly press away from the floor. We widen those knees. We'll come into our child's pose, releasing the forehead to the floor. We just take a moment to release and relax. We might start to walk the fingertips slightly forward to really engage the arms. And just taking a few deep breaths. As we slowly inhale, we'll start to curve the spine. We'll lift back to seated. We just find ourselves sitting on the heels. We might lean forward slightly to tuck the toes under. And in inhaling, rolling the shoulders back, we'll sweep the arms overhead. Exhale, palms find each other, releasing back to heart center. Let's just take a moment, close the eyes, find that breath again. On the inhale, knees find each other, so we kind of sweep back together. And then exhale, we're just going to lean forward and stretch out those wrists. So flipping the wrists upside down, we start to lean in and out. And then exhale, when you're ready, we'll just flip back over the side. Really stretch into those fingers, the fronts of the wrists. Good, as we start to inhale, again, keeping those toes tucked if it's comfortable. We start to interlace the fingers, and we'll just start to roll and rotate. We'll take one direction to start, and then opposite side when you're ready. On the exhale, releasing, fingertips sweep to the sides. We interlace those fingers. We start to straighten up the arms and we gaze towards the ceiling. Just finding a big opening in the heart. Exhale, we stay here, but we continue to forward fold, so arms come with us. We might untuck the toes, so we feel a bit more steady and stable, releasing the forehead. And then exhaling, slowly lifting back to seated. We gently come onto our sit bones. We take a moment here to find a seated position. And then reaching to your side, we might even just sit on top of the blanket to lift those hips. Give you some height here. And as we inhale here, we'll slowly release the palms to the belly. We'll inhale nice and tall. Let's just close the eyes for a few moments. We start to invite this deep belly breath back into our practice once again. So on the inhale, we'll fill the belly. On the exhale, we'll draw the navel into the spine. Inhale, we fill the belly. Exhale. And as we inhale through the nose, on the next exhale, we might invite a small whisper into the throat. We come back to our Ujjayi breath. And we continue to slow the breath down even more. So we start to inhale, count to 4 through the nose, and then exhale, count to 4 through the mouth. Relax the face, relax the eyes, relax the shoulders. Good, slow, intentional breaths. Just a few more. Stay with it. Continue calming the body. Noticing any thoughts that begin to take away your attention, and immediately just come back to that breath. I am inhaling, I am exhaling. On our next exhale, we slowly release the palms to the knees. And we just gently maybe take ourselves away from the blanket. We start to come into our final resting posture. So making some room on your mat, we can extend through the legs. And then just slowly, there's assisted by the knees, we start to release onto the back. So we fall towards the floor. The palms might face the ceiling. Toes might splay out to the sides. And just feeling the heaviness of the head. Releasing the heaviness of the body. So we take this time in our resting posture to absorb the practice, to allow the body to rest and recharge. On our next inhale, we gently bring our awareness to the crown of the head. And as we just take a few nice deep breaths, we take inventory of the body. So on the exhale, we begin to send that breath over the nose, behind the eyes. Again, we inhale deeply, and as we exhale, we continue drawing the breath through the cheekbones, the jaw, releasing any tension in the facial muscles. We continue to inhale and lengthen. As we exhale again, we send that breath over the shoulders and down the arms. We might check in with the wrists and the fingers. Big exhale through the palms of the hands, and then inhaling once again, we'll draw the breath back up the arms. We find our awareness at the heart center. Again, taking a moment, allowing the shoulders to melt into the floor. On the inhale again, through the nose, we exhale through the mouth and begin sending breath over the collarbones, through the heart center, around the rib cage. And then exhaling, sending breath back down through the spine. On the inhale, we'll draw the breath back through the spine, and then exhale. Imagine that breath moving up and down the spinal column. So sending nourishing, healing breath through the body. Just feeling into the spine. And as you next exhale, finding your awareness at the base of the tailbone, we start to wrap our breath around the hips and just finding awareness at the navel, the pelvis, the perineum. Again, we take a moment, we start to inhale through the nose. Exhaling, sending your breath wrapping around the thighs, over the knees, around the calves, the ankles, the toes. Big exhale through the base of those feet. And again, just giving yourself permission to release and rest on your mat. As we next inhale through the nose, we begin drawing breath through the feet. We just slowly begin to check in once again with the entire body. We might notice some areas that feel really wonderful right now. We might feel some tension still holding in the body. So we become hyper aware of the body. We become hyper aware of this slow breathing, the calmness of the mind. We take our time, drawing that awareness back through the hips, the navel, the ribs, through the heart center. And we gently find our awareness at the crown of the head. Again, we inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. And on our next exhale, we gently bring awareness to our fingers and our toes. We start to maybe rotate the ankles and the wrists. We start to gently come back to our yoga space. And as we transition, we slowly roll onto one side. We might start to rest the head on the arm. Just taking a moment. And whenever you're ready, we slowly press the body away from the floor. We stack the spine. We come back to a seated position. And just allow those pillows and blankets to come with us, to fall wherever they do. On our next inhale, we'll sweep those fingers out to the sides. We'll release the palms down to the heart. We close the eyes intentionally one last time. We take a moment to acknowledge our practice. We notice where we are in this moment. We might bring that intention or mantra back to our mind. And as we inhale together, drawing the thumbs to the forehead, we take a moment to release the shoulders away from the ears. And as we bow to each other, we bow to our practice. We bow to the teachers before us. We release the head to the floor. Namaste. Just slowly releasing the body, taking your time. I hope you all have a wonderful Monday evening. Drink lots of water. Keep stretching. Nice job. How did it feel?